Session 2, Overview. In this session, you will learn to write SMART transition goals. To do that, you will use transition assessments in student interests and strengths to inform goal creation. This will also help you create present levels and the SMART goals in education or employment and independent living, along with their 2 objectives. Later, you will review a given case study and transition assessment to write measurable and objective annual transition goals. To begin, what is a SMART goal? The acronym SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, results-oriented, and time-bound. Specific is the what, the how, the why. Measurable is what's your evidence that the goal was met? How is it measurable? Achievable means, are they realistic? Is this something that the student will be able to achieve? Results-oriented is it measures an outcome, it shows the gaining of a skill. It's not just doing an activity, it's the student obtaining a new skill or learning something new. And then finally, time-bound, that's the when. SMART goals are a popular and research-based way to ensure your annual IEP and transition goals are measurable and objective. They break down the IEP goals to make sure they are realistic and manageable for students to achieve. SMART goals also make it easier for responsible parties to ensure the student achieves that goal. When you apply SMART format to transition goals, there are 2 required annual goals. First, an education or employment goal, and secondly, an independent living goal. Sometimes an annual goal can cover both education and employment at the same time. An example of how this would be is researching career pathways can be applied to both the educational goal, because it is a way for the student to learn about post-secondary requirements in maybe community college, or that could be applied to an employment goal, because researching a career pathway will provide the student with a general overview of what a potential career might look like. An important piece to know is that independent living goals must be standalone. They cannot be combined, like whereas education and employment can kind of be lumped together, independent living goal must be standalone. So how do we know what goals are appropriate? How do we know what goals to write? First, you'll use transition assessments. The student's needs, challenges, strengths, and interests all guide the goal. You'll learn of these needs, challenges, strengths, and interests by doing transition assessments. Also, you'll learn this information by having conversations with the student, and hopefully you should know them well enough to help design a strong transition plan. Transition assessments are designed to give you valuable information. You can find them over the internet, or your school may have them created themselves, but they are made to help you learn more about your student. You should discuss potential post-secondary aspirations and outcomes with the student regularly, and this information will also help you design your goals. This data will inform your present levels, and they should be SMART. If they are SMART, they will likely be more appropriate. These goals must also be tied to the social emotional learning standards, since Illinois does not have current transition or vocational standards. An example SMART transition goal. By November 2018, student will demonstrate knowledge of proper personal hygiene by maintaining a well-groomed appearance and developing a daily hygiene routine in 8 out of 10 trials, as measured by data charting, physical appearance, and/or a student interview. As you can see, the red words indicate the specific part of the SMART goal. Demonstrate knowledge of proper personal hygiene is specific. It tells you what exactly the student will be doing. Measurable, as indicated by orange, is the part where it says measured by data charting, physical appearance, and/or student interview. Those 3 techniques will show how that student met the goal. How can you measure it? How do you know he met it? But you'll review his personal hygiene by data charting, by observation, by discussing this with them. Achievable. Is it realistic? So you are going to put in qualifies in there of how they demonstrated their personal hygiene, and you should do those qualifiers in a way that is realistic to that student. For example, maintaining a well-groomed appearance and developing daily hygiene, that is realistic. It is achievable. Results-oriented shows a measured outcome. So an 8 of 10 trials. This is showing that this is not just an arbitrary goal. They will do so in a matter of 8 out of 10 trials. It shows results. And then finally, time bound. This is when? By November 2018, so by the next annual review, the student will have to have done this. Skill check. Take 1 minute to decide which goal that example fulfilled. Did it fulfill education, employment, or independent living? By November 2018, student will demonstrate knowledge of proper personal hygiene by maintaining a well-groomed appearance and developing a daily hygiene routine in 8 out of 10 trials as measured by data charting, physical appearance, and/or student interview. Is it education, employment, or independent living? If you guessed independent living, you are correct. Good job. So, like in annual academic goals, make sure objectives meet the goal. The intention is to provide objectives or benchmarks that provide proof the skill or goal has been met. There should be at least 2. So along with your SMART goal, you should also write at least 2 objectives, breaking down the goal further to give guidance in how that student should achieve the overall goal. An example of SMART goal objectives is as follows. If you have the goal by November 2018, so-and-so will demonstrate knowledge of proper personal hygiene by maintaining a well-groomed appearance and developing a daily hygiene routine in 8 of 10 trials as measured by data charting, physical appearance, and/or student interview. You take that general goal, you break it down into smaller objectives. Objective 1 possibly could be student will come to school freshly showered and recently laundered clothing with their teeth brushed and hair well groomed. You can measure that by data charting and by observing their physical appearance. Now, that is just one example of an objective that can follow that set goal. Perhaps based on that student, those types of qualifiers might not be appropriate. You can modify your objectives to meet how the student will reach that goal as it is appropriate. A second sample objective would be student will describe their day-to-day hygiene routine. This can be measured through a student interview. That is a great objective to sit with a student and really have them explain to you and demonstrate their knowledge of how they have proper hygiene. Another and last objective that might be possible with this said goal is student will create a schedule for day-to-day hygiene and grooming. This can be measured, again, through a student interview. If they create a schedule for their day-to-day hygiene and grooming, that shows that they know exactly how long these things take and that it's achievable for them to do maybe in the morning before they get ready for school or at night before they go to bed. That takes the goal and applies it to their daily life. Let's look at another example SMART transition goal. By November 2018, student will research and identify a career pathway as it relates to their personal interests, strengths, and needs with 100% accuracy and completion as measured by student interview and work samples. The specific in this goal, or the S, is research and identify a career pathway. A student will be doing that thing.